All right. So, holy cow. So, as a philosopher, as a lover of wisdom, because that's what a philosopher is. Pondering like questions, like I have come out to ponder what is the most important thing to know right now. You know, and in that questioning, I have come to find that it is knowing the grand unified theory of everything. So with that, you know, I have for 41 years now. March 19th will be 41 years. I've lived on this earth. I was indoctrinated into the system in till 2012, and then I awoke in 2012, and ever since then I have been on my journey of awakening that has led me to actually finding the Illuminati and discovering the grand unified theory of everything, which does unify mind and matter, which is what physics and mathematics and religion, every authority is still trying to do, even though the elite they have already figured this out, and they're keeping this knowledge from the masses, because it's very compartmentalized with all the different facets of the secrets. But the grand unified theory of everything is definitely like the greatest secret of them all, because it does unify mind matter. It does unify the dimensionless with the dimensional. It does unify Kairos time with Chronos time. It does unify the domain outside of time and space and the domain inside of time and space. And it does unify mind, which is everything is equal to zero. R is equal to zero, which means distance is equal to zero, meaning that everything is contained, and that is important to understand, because that zero is actually important to understand singularities, and where physics and science and stuff breaks down. That's where it's important to understand what zero is and what infinity is. Those two actual numbers actually explain physics of black holes and stuff like that, which scientists and materialists don't take into consideration, because they don't acknowledge the existence of the realm and domain of mind, and which is soul and spirit, afterlife, that not non-physical, dimensionless. This is that realm. In the six-dimensional cosmology, it's the realm of the three dimensions of time. Okay, so this is coming from the six-dimensional cosmology, of the Illuminati, who are actually explaining the structure and nature of reality, and the universe, in that it's 6-dimensional. And they've already known this. They're a secret society that have known the grand unified theory of everything, because they are the highest level of intellectual elites. But they are not the dark Satanists, cabal, Epstein, political people, senators, politicians, police, government, everybody that that goes down the rabbit hole, that finds who the Illuminati. They Illuminati is the main term, of all of the conspiracies. And there's actually 2 ways you can go. You can go one way, which is thinking that the Illuminati are the bad guys, which will lead you into, the Illuminati are the bad guys. They're the neoconservatives, bankers, politicians, celebrities, Satan worshippers, Jews that are, eating babies and all that stuff, which is all true. You know what I'm saying? But they are not the Illuminati. The Illuminati are actually the ones that oppose them, and that have always opposed them since 561 BCE, when King Solomon was enlightened by mystic holy men that were actually given illumination by what are known as the Watchers in the Bible. And so since that time, the lineage of the Illuminati has been untainted, and they came out with everything that they know in 2012. The Grand Master of the Illuminati deemed it necessary that all of their teachings be released in 2012. So my awakening began in 2012, and then I found the Illuminati in 2016. And then that is when I had the bridge happen, the bridge between this world and the other world, between the physical and non-physical, between alpha and omega, between the dimensional and the dimensionless, because the truth about reality is that it's the nature of it is it's in 2 domains. You have the time and space, physical, and then you have the mental, non-physical, and all that stuff, which explains dreams and stuff, the unconscious, synchronicities, deja vu, everything. Because if you've had a dream, you've automatically refuted scientific materialism. And, that is because mathematical idealism is the truth. And that actually says that mind is primary to matter. So mind creates matter, not the opposite around, with matter creating mind, which is what our current paradigm, all the mathematicians, physicists, all of them that are trying to figure out the grand unified theory of everything they're only figuring out one domain, which is the physical, and they're leaving out another completely domain. They're leaving out a whole nother domain that is actually where everything comes from. The mental domain, outside of time and space, which is explains the singularity, where physics breaks down, and all of that, which ontological mathematics explains through explaining that the universe is actually the structure and architecture of it is not matter, but it is actually mathematics and number and equations. which explains mind, because mind is a mathematical structure, that actually projects through thoughts which are sinusoidal waves from the frequency domain outside of time and space into the domain inside of time and space through a Fourier transform, which is mathematically explains the transformation of energy. So this explains how energy is transformed from non-dimensional into dimensional reality, which is what they're trying to figure out, which the Illuminati have already figured out, which I am currently on the quest now to contact universities, physicists, mathematicians, all of that, to do my part in disclosure and the Great Awakening, because the implications of discovering the grand unified theory of everything is that it explains the afterlife, it explains the soul, it explains the mind, it explains everything, and it explains that you're not actually physical, and that you're actually divine, because that's how they've tricked us and stuff, is think that we're just wretched creatures, physical, we're born, we live and we die, but we're actually divine because we have minds that is the transformation, the Fourier transform between dimensional and dimensionless existence, or dimensionless and dimensional, between omega and alpha, and that's where it comes from. So all of this that I'm saying right now is coming from Omega World. It's coming from the frequency domain that lays outside of time and space, which you could definitely call Empyrean or heaven, because you're not disconnected from that, like religions would teach you. Because one thing that science does is they say just physical reality is all that there is, because they say that that's what all that it is. But the religious people say that there's the spirit and all that stuff. But these two things keep arguing, but they've never been able to unite. And that's what the grand unified theory of everything does, is it reunites religion and science and everything like that, and it restores the divinity in humanity, because it actually opens up and removes illusions and everything, and opens up the door to the other side. So and that you're a soul living a physical experience in a body, but the soul, it's a non-local, our minds and our souls are actually exist in a domain outside of time and space, in Kairos, and this is Chronos. And so through Fourier transforms, that is how the energy is transformed into physical reality. And I came to this understanding through, much research, and, finding the Illuminati. Ramtha the Enlightened One is a mentor of mine, who is obviously one of the Watchers. One of the ones that enlightened humanity with divine knowledge. Gnostic knowledge, which has been trampled out, in time. The church has trampled it out. Politics has trampled it out. Christian Zionism, Judaism, Abrahamism, Islam, all of that. It's all just a It's all just the old world order, and you have to cross the bridge and into the new world, the new way of thinking, which is for yourself, which is freedom and liberation. So that's it for now. Until next time.